Olá, estamos no ar com mais um Enzima Live Show, nosso programa bissemanal, sempre falando sobre inovação, tecnologia, digital, startups, recebendo sempre profissionais relevantes da indústria esportiva e do entretenimento para conversar conosco sobre esses assuntos que a gente tanto ama. Antes de falar do nosso convidado especialíssimo de hoje, só lembrar a vocês que todas essas nossas conversas, elas viram podcasts depois nas principais plataformas de podcasts, então o Spotify, o Deezer, o Google Podcasts. Então, vocês que não conseguiram acompanhar ao vivo pelo YouTube, podem acompanhar por essas plataformas. Vocês que gostam de malhar, de correr, ouvindo podcasts, esses aplicativos são muito mais amigáveis do que o YouTube. Hoje temos um convidado, como eu falei, especialíssimo, convidado internacional, o Ashok Karanth, ele que é fundador e CEO da Edisn.Ai, uma startup fundada na Índia, hoje já está nos Estados Unidos e, para mim, é uma das startups mais incríveis, que tem um dos produtos mais incríveis que eu já vi para transmissões esportivas, e a gente vai conversar com ele aqui. So, Ashok, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Enzima. It's an honor to have you in our show. So I would like to start asking you to tell us about your career and your involvement with sports before starting Edison.
Yeah, thank you so much, Felipe. It's an honor to be here. My Portuguese is not as good as yours, so I will do this in English. So I have been in the sports industry for 15 odd years now, in the sports media marketing space. Spent some time in India, also in the US and Europe, and we started Edison about 1.5 to 2 years back.
And how did Edison start? Was it something that you, as a sports fan, thought would be good, or was a demand that came to you by another source?
Yeah, see, the world is consuming more and more sports content on their phones, on their laptops, desktops, connected TVs, smart TVs. Everything else you do on your phone is very personalized for you. It is on demand. It is interactive. But if you look at sports content, it is still largely broadcast content. You know, you and I watch exactly the same FIFA World Cup game or any other soccer game. There is no interactivity. You have to sit back and watch. And if you want to get some statistics about your favorite player, for example, you literally need to sort of minimize that screen, open up Google, and then look at the stats. So we felt, why can't we make all of that interactive on the same live feed? Which is why we started Edison.
Perfect. And we'll have a demonstration later, but please explain to our audience what Edison does.
Yes. So if you are watching a live sports game, and it could be any sports, it could be football, basketball, hockey, baseball, any of the sports, we have built the core technology to be able to recognize the players on the screen. And we do that using artificial intelligence, computer vision technologies. It is a proprietary technology. We have filed for one patent already on it. So the core of the tech is that we are able to recognize who is on screen at any given point in time of a live broadcast feed. So if you're watching, say, a football game, we'll be able to recognize if it's a Madrid versus Barcelona game, for example, all the players who are on the screen, we're able to recognize in real time without the need for any cameras in the stadiums, any chips on the players. That, therefore, enables fans to now click on their favorite player and look at that player's stats, buy the player's jersey, place a bet, participate in polls, etc. So it makes a live broadcast feed more interactive.
That's perfect. It's awesome. I had the opportunity to see the technology working, and you have the opportunity to later in this show. So it's really awesome. So Ashok, what is the size of your team today? And do you have offices outside India? Explain to us, please.
Yes. So we are 7 full-time employees, and I spend time between the US and India, and the rest of the team is largely in India. We also have 3 or 4 advisors around the world. Somebody who runs KPMG sports analytics practice earlier. He's between the Europe and US. There's another person based out of Los Angeles, another one in the UK. We are now working with an agency in Japan. So we've got relationships across the world, and would love to sort of work with you and your team in Brazil as well as we go along. So that's the way we are expanding our team. So our company is actually a US headquartered company with an office in Bangalore in India.
Oh, perfect, perfect. And you've been on a path of success, participating in some of the biggest acceleration programs in the world, like Techstars and Sports Tech Tokyo. Also won an award in a competition organized by the Basketball EuroLeague. And what is the importance of participating in acceleration programs? What that brought to you?
Yes. So when we started this company about 18 months back, we were set it up out of India, and we were slowly going to expand the market. But the moment we went into a competition early last year during the NBA All Star Weekend, and after that, when we went to this accelerator program, that really helped us to get in faster into the US market. Especially that accelerator program run by Comcast and Techstars really helped us get into Comcast. Now Comcast owns NBC, Sky in the UK, Universal Pictures. NBC has got a ton of sports rights, so it really helped us get into the US market in a short period of time. Otherwise, we would have spent a lot of time trying to go back and forth between India and the US. Similarly, with Sports Tech Tokyo, which is a program run by Dentsu and Scrum Ventures, to take us into to take companies like us into the Japanese market. Now, the fallout of that is that after 6 months of doing that program and getting out of it, we now have our first Japanese client. We've done some work with the Yokohama FC in Japan, and that has helped us get into the Japanese market. And as we all know, Japan is a very tech savvy and a very, very big sports economy. So that's a great thing for us. That program helped us to get into that market.
Okay, and for the startup founders that are watching us and want to apply to those acceleration programs, what advice can you give? What is important to have in order to be selected?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think first and foremost, a good a good product is super essential, right? If you do not have if you're making a me too of something else, I don't think that's going to work, because there's a ton of sports companies out there. But if you have something differentiated, I would like to think that we have something which is slightly different from what the rest of the world has. That helps. Secondly, obviously, network has hell, because uh, these accelerator programs are small. I mean, they have 10, 11 people whom they can take in at any given point in time. One thing which would help, I think, is if you manage to crack your home market. So if you have a reasonable product and you have some level of adoption, some amount of traction in your home market. If it's Brazil, it's Brazil. So if you have some client, trialing it out, that will really help to make yourself stand out from the rest. Because lots of people will come with ideas on presentations, but if you have a working product and you have maybe one small client, it doesn't have to be paid, but if one small client, that really helps.
And did your product change after or during those programs, or not? Was something that you use it to gain recognition in other countries and enter other markets?
Yeah, look, I think a bit of both actually. So during the Comcast Techstars program, when we went into it, our product was a mobile only or a desktop or a laptop only product, right? The first thing we did when we went into Comcast, we realized that Comcast has their core focus as an entity is on their set-top boxes, their connected TVs, and stuff like that. So we had to quickly build out a variant of our product which would work on those set-top boxes. So that really helped us, because the reality is that a lot of sports consumption continues to happen on smart TVs and big TVs, right? If you have a big screen at home, you would want to watch sport on that. So we therefore had to build a product which worked on smart TVs. The second thing which helped us is through the program is that Comcast also owns Universal Pictures, which do a lot of, I mean, obviously one of the largest studios in the world. That helped us to focus our attention on building out an entertainment variant of that product, right? So therefore our technology can now work not just for sport, but can also work for movies and TV series and stuff like that, like Game of Thrones or Despicable Me or whatever.
And are you working on projects in the entertainment area too, or is your focus now only on sports?
Yeah. So as you know, we are a startup. We can only do so many things. There is a lot of competition for time. So therefore, our core focus continues to remain sport. But we do know that the underlying technology platform can work for entertainment content as well. So as we go along, as we build more and more traction in the sports arena, we would like to get into the entertainment arena as well. But right now, the focus is sport.
Perfect. So tell us about some projects that you developed or are developing now, please.
Yeah. Look, as part of the program with Comcast and Techstars, we did one project with Comcast for about 8 to 10 NFL games, games played by the Eagles. We made that interactive on for the Xfinity set-top box. We did some work with NBC in Philadelphia, which is where the program was based out of, for behind the scenes NFL content, and also for some political debates. America loves their political debates, and you could look at the various candidates, click on the candidate, and look at their backgrounds and stuff like that. Interactivity on political debates. After the program, we did one game, which we got, which we did with the NBA. It was a Pelicans versus Bucks game. And during the COVID pandemic, now we just finished a small project that we did with Levin Sports, which is an OTT broadcaster, based out of the UK, for the Taiwanese baseball league. Uh, and we're just now doing a project, like I said, with a Japanese soccer club playing in the J1 league, which is Yokohama FC. So these are some of the projects that we've done.
Perfect. And how the pandemic changed your plans?
Yeah. Look, I think for good and for bad, the bad part first is that 4 months there was no sport. We had an engagement going with EuroLeague. That is the competition that we won in Barcelona early this year. But unfortunately, immediately after that, a project that we were going to do got postponed because the league got postponed, and now the league has got cancelled. Uh, a lot of sports that we were in very active engagements with either got cancelled or postponed or now have curtailed seasons. So therefore, their focus is on just getting the sport right. They will do all technologies like us much later on. But I'll tell you the good thing which has come out of this is that it has helped us to reorient our attention from a pure play engagement platform to saying, how can we figure out how to make money for our clients? How can we drive monetization? Okay, because we know now that once sports comes back, things which will help broadcasters, teams, leagues make money will get greenlit faster because everybody is under revenue pressure. So we have now therefore doubled down our efforts on building out a product for sports betting, building out a product for sponsor logo interactivity and stuff. So going after things where there is direct money, which is betting, merchandise, sponsorship, and advertising.
Perfect. So that time without sports helped you to improve your products, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Perfect. So Edison is a global startup, and what are the challenges that a startup face to become global?
Look, I think that's a good question. It's not easy because everybody wants to go to the US or Europe, right? But if we don't have the network, that doesn't it's not that easy to sort of break in there, right? It helps if you have a very very differentiated and unique product, but that by alone is not enough. You need to have the network, and therefore, for us, the accelerator program helped. Secondly, entry into some competitions like all of these and winning some of them really helped to enter into the market. Now, when I go to Europe, if I say that I won the EuroLeague competition, that really people sit up and take notice. And thirdly, for us, it helped that we had a bunch of advisors who could really open up gates in those specific markets. Because I realize that especially if you're a very small team, almost all your attention will be going towards product enhancement and getting the product up, and there is very little time left for business development and sales and stuff like that. So if you have the right partners who can take you to various markets, that really see, for example, Japan. Sports Tech Tokyo was great, but we also had an agency whom we worked with in Japan, which is CVC Corp. I mean, and they really could talk the local language, work through the navigation, and make that deal happen with Yokohama FC, right? So for other markets, if you want to go global, it's good to have partners like this because there's only so much you can do as a founder or as a startup.
Yes, yes, definitely. So now's the time. Can you please give us a demonstration of your technology working?
Yeah, sure, I could do that. I'll share my screen. I
Okay.
think obviously Brazil. If I don't do football, then I don't know my sport. Then, so I will walk you through a quick football demo.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me do that. Just give me one sec.
No problem.
Yeah, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I'll put it on the screen now. Yes, that's perfect. Let
Okay,
me put full screen. Perfect.
great. So if you're watching this uh, football game, soccer game, football game on. Uh, I'm just going to pause it every now and then so that I can talk about it.
Okay.
Let's assume you're watching this on ESPN Plus, NBC Gold, Sky in the UK, or Globo, or TVN Sports, or anything in Brazil. So we are a B2B2C company in the sense that our customers are broadcasters or leagues or teams. Okay, we are not a direct. You don't, as a consumer, you don't have to download a new app to enjoy our features. If you're already working with Globo, you have the Globo app, you are sorted. Or TVN Sports, you have the TVN Sports app, you will get these features. So if you see the top left hand corner is where our software would sit, either as an SDK or an API integration. Okay.
Okay.
The core of what we have built is that we have the ability, like I mentioned, to recognize the players on the screen in real time. I'm just going to pause it uh, uh, so that you understand what it is. Yeah. So the AI technology that we have built recognizes the faces, recognizes the numbers on the jersey and the colors of the jersey to identify the players. So in this frame, we look at the number 14, the number 33. We can look at Emerson's face when it is available, when Jesse Lingard's face when it is available. The colors, so we know that he is wearing red and Chelsea is wearing blue. So we are able to recognize players on the screen using all of these technologies without the need for any cameras inside the stadiums or any chips on the players. So that is our core differentiating factor, is that we can do this in real time and zero latency to identify the players. Now, because you're
Perfect.
able to identify the players, what can happen now is that the players can now start becoming clickable. So you're watching this on your phone or on your laptop or on your smart TV. You suddenly see who's this guy. You click, and then you see that player stats. So you clicked on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. You could see stats of the player. You could see his bio. You could see content about that player as and when you want it. If you're not a fan of him, you want to see, okay, who's this guy? Okay, let me click on this guy. You see David De Gea and you see his stats and his bio, for example, right?
Okay.
So basically, you can click on any player whenever you want and consume stats and other kinds of content. Okay. Apart from that, we could also do stuff like polls. The broadcaster, like ESPN, could say, okay, who's going to win the match, and that could be sent as a personalized content to the fans who clicked on, Man United or Chelsea, right? So the polls could be sponsored by a brand. You could say all the polls are brought to you by Coca-Cola, right?
Mhm.
So there is a bunch of engagement related content that can be done. Apart from that, you could also click on any player at any given point in time, and you could buy his or her merchandise, right? So you could look at a player. You look, okay, I'm interested in Harry Maguire's jersey. You could click and place. I'm not going to do it now. It'll go to the Manchester United store. If required, we could also do that on the same page. You don't have to even leave the screen to do it. So you could buy merchandise or you could buy tickets, which therefore enables more revenue. So what could be done is the broadcaster could send a push notification to all the 50,000 fans who clicked on a Chelsea player to say, whenever Chelsea scores a goal, here's 5% off on a Chelsea jersey, for example. And that makes it super interesting because it's an impulse purchase. You're a fan. Chelsea scores a goal, you suddenly want to click and buy then and there, for example. So Nike
Yes.
could run an ad to do it. Apart from that, one other use case I want to show you, and we'll talk about the other monetization elements, is that we can put cool and interesting graphics on top of players. If you see now, we can actually put like a flaming ball of fire on top of Tammy Abraham's head because he did a cool shot. He went and hit the bar, for example. Now this could be something which makes the whole game look like a video game, right? So kids who are watching the game might suddenly say, "What is this guy?" I click on it, I start playing around, look at the stats, etc. It makes the game look more and more interactive, more and more engaging, and more video game-like, which which is what the youngsters basically want to access. There's a quote by Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, who said that if the NBA does not look like Fortnite in a few years' time, he believes more people will watch Fortnite than the NBA, for example.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah. Apart from that, another monetization angle is the whole betting piece, right? So if the broadcaster decides that they want to place, they want to encourage fans to place a bet, you could actually put a symbol like this on top of a player's head, saying this is where the hot money is at. Most of the punters during this game are putting money on Harry Maguire, for example, to get sent off. So you are a fan, you're watching this, you've not placed a bet, you suddenly click on that guy, you look at what the bet is. Okay, for him to get sent off at any time is 2:1 odds. I place a bet then and there. You could then decide that I'm going to place, say, $20, confirm, and the bet can actually be placed then and there. Or you could go to the betting company's site and place a bet. You know, so a casual fan watching a game could now suddenly start placing more and more bets about a particular player. Once you placed a bet and the game is still on, if you want to see how the bet is going tracking, you could say you placed a bet at 2:1. Current odds are 4:1. Do you want to place another bet, for example? So this encourages fans to click on players and place bets, and we believe this is going to be a significant game changer in live broadcast because betting is coming. It's coming in many geographies. US is already getting it, making it legal. Europe, it's already there in most places. And sports betting is going to be a huge revenue driver, and we can enable that.
That's perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you also have a an interactive advertising on the field, right?
Absolutely. So, like I mentioned, we are focusing on revenue generation. So, one was betting and merchandise, and the other one, which I'm just going to show you now, is a sponsored logo interactivity piece. Everybody has seen sporting events where there are so many logos around the ground, and for most people, they don't even notice it. Fans just don't notice what is the brand, etc. Right? So, if those logos can be made interactive, it adds more value for the sponsor. So, in this case, if you see now, I'm just going to pause it. If you see Apollo tires, our same AI technology can recognize the brands on the screen, just like you can recognize the players. So if you see Apollo tires, and if Apollo tires has done a campaign to tell fans saying whenever you see Apollo tires, click on it and you get some discounts. So a fan can now click on Apollo tires, and a new overlay could come in. It could be a 10% discount. It will go to the Apollo tires website or whatever else. So dumb sponsored logos could now start becoming interactive logos. So Coca-Cola, for example, during a 90-minute football game, could have 5 different messages during the game. It makes the logos far more. It makes the sponsor inventory far more interactive, and they can make more. They can get more ROI from it.
Yes, yes, that's perfect.
So
That's
this is it.
perfect,
Yeah,
Mitchell. So let me remove the screen so we can keep talking here. So that's awesome. I have a few questions about the how the technology works. You explained it, but you have a lot of integrations. In where do you integrate all those APIs? It's something that requires a lot of development. How much time? Explain a little bit about that technological part.
yeah. Look, all the AI work happens pretty much on the cloud. Okay, so it's either on Google or AWS or Microsoft Azure or any such cloud architecture. All the AI work happens on the cloud, and that is the technology that we've optimized. So if we have to do, say, a Brazilian football league, for example, we just need 2 days to train the entire league and the players. To recognize a player, we need, say, 2 or 3 images of each player, and then he automatically starts getting recognized. So all of that happens in the cloud. The client doesn't need to do anything. For a web integration, it's actually two lines of code that the client needs to integrate, and then the whole interactivity happens on their platform, right? So if ESPN or if Yokohama FC now, for example, there were two lines of code that they needed to integrate onto their website to make the whole interactivity possible. Similarly, on iOS and Android, there'll be an SDK which integrates onto their app. So
Oh,
simple as that.
that's perfect. That's perfect. And what I think is great is the fact that you can do it live, but you can also do it on highlights after the game. And we were talking about the younger generation, and they want to consume shorter content more and more. So it's a good way to stimulate those younger ones to consume that kind of content too, right?
Exactly right. So, look, highlights could be all the highlight videos could be made interactive, uh, and if there are, say, few new players in your team or in the league that you want to popularize, more everybody will know the main players, but nobody will know the number 4, 5, 6 players. So you can then click on that player, look at his stats, build out a story around him. Teams could now start selling merchandise or tickets to go watch the next game, for example. So all of that can happen on shorter clips as well. It's a lot easier for us as a technology platform to do highlights than it is to do live.
Perfect. That's perfect. And so, what is the role that technology has, in your opinion, and will have in the future of sports?
Oh, look, I think without tech, I think the world, a world without tech is unimaginable now, right? And post COVID, we've seen that now. It's just digital consumption is on the rise. Everybody is on their phones or on the smart TVs. Everybody's on Netflix and Amazon Prime and stuff like that. So tech is the way of the future. And I think what's happening is that in the earlier days, when there used to be this one massive football World Cup or a Super Bowl or the NBA playoffs or whatever else, and everybody used to watch it, audience interest is completely fragmented. If you are not able to capture my attention as a fan for more than 5 10 minutes, I'm gone, right? So if tech is the only way in which you can personalize the content, you can make it engaging, you can make it interactive, and give me what I need when I need it, and that's the only way to do that is via tech, you know, because otherwise fans will go and play video games, or consume something on Netflix, or do something else, watch some music or watch some music or do something else, right? So sports has to adopt tech, and sports can adopt tech to attract younger fans who are completely digitally native.
Oh, that's perfect. There's a question that I forgot to ask. What about the sports that your technology is able to work with? It's football, of course, basketball. Can you give us more examples, please?
Yeah, look, any sport in which faces are visible or jersey numbers are visible, we can pretty much work with. Okay, so one of our first projects we did was with the NFL. In NFL, there is no face visible at all. We only had to pick up numbers on the jersey. So we've done work with the NFL. We've done work with the NBA, with the basketball, with football, which is soccer. We've done baseball. We're now working on a project on table tennis, ping pong. We've done some endurance races. We've actually done a small project as a pilot for skateboarding, action sports. And if you look at audiences for things like action sports, they are all very, very young, completely digitally savvy, and the only thing they expect is interactivity, right? If you do your same old boring sports broadcast and show skateboarding, they're not going to be interested. They want to click and they want to do stuff and they want to learn and they want to, they want to customize the feed for themselves, and our platform can do that. So for us, any sport is easy, and more importantly, it can be anywhere in the world at any level, right? So we can do Super Bowl and we can do college level or youth level baseball. It doesn't really matter for us as long as there is a reasonable quality broadcast feed. We are good to go.
Perfect. And just for curiosity, uh, when you are when you're going when you're starting to work with a new sport, is it something that requires new development, or from your part, or your technology is already ready to be applied to new sports? Like you mentioned, you started working with skateboard. So how does that work?
Yeah. So look, I think for most ball and player-oriented sports, right, which are people moving around behind a ball, basically, right, which is say basketball or soccer or even NFL and all of these. Our sport is, I mean, we can do it's pretty much ready-made, right, because it just picks up people and stuff. Things like skateboarding or things which do not involve, I mean, which are different movements compared to team-oriented sports, need a little bit of training. Baseball is an interesting example. Baseball is very different compared to a lot of your other sports, which is it's mostly one-on-one and stuff like that. We had to train the network to pick up a batter and a pitcher and a catcher and all of that, because there are different people, different positions and stuff like that. But from doing nothing in baseball to get baseball live took us about 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so that is all it takes to onboard a new sport.
That's perfect. So very fast, right? 2 or 3
Yeah.
weeks to a new sport. It's awesome. So final question, Ashok. What is your vision for Edison in the next 5 years?
Look, I think we are building a version of how sport will get consumed in the future, and I think it's going to happen, right? Sport is going to be interactive, and sport lends itself to all of that, right? You have your favorite team, you want to know more about your players, you want to chat with other people, you want to place bets, you want to buy T-shirts, you do all sorts of stuff which you will not do when you're watching a movie when you're doing sport. Because sport is about, and so we believe we want to build a version of the way sport is going to get consumed in the future, right? But having said that, if you look at a larger vision for us as a company, right, the technology platform that we have built can actually make any kind of video interactive, right? So starting off with sport, we can go into movies and TV shows and music concerts and news and stuff like that. But going even further ahead for the minute, let's assume that it's your kid's birthday party or my graduation ceremony or some other party, some other video that we all shoot, and the world is creating more and more videos every day. We can make all of those videos interactive, so my son's birthday party can be a video on YouTube or wherever else. I'll share that video with you. You can click on my son, look at which year birthday party it is, gift him something then and there, wish him then and there, and stuff like that. Right now none of that is possible. We believe our technology can basically make any video on the internet interactive and engaging.
That's a great vision. Awesome to think about it. So, Ashok, thank you so much for your time, for explaining this incredible technology that you developed. Like I told you before, it's for me, it's one of the greatest products that I ever seen. So, congratulations for it. And I would like to give you space to send our Brazilian audience a message.
Yeah, look, I think I'm a huge fan of Brazilian football. Who isn't? Everybody else, everybody is, and I think from a sports innovation standpoint and from an adoption of sports standpoint, Brazil is right up there. So I would love to interact with sports broadcasters, teams, and leagues in Brazil. And I think more importantly, any budding sports tech companies and entrepreneurs and founders out there, feel free to reach out to me. You have my contact details, and I would love to help you out, make some connections if need be, and help you sort of get started, because a lot of people were there to help me when I started off, and I would love to do that with. And I know it's not easy. I've come from India and trying to get into the American European market. You're from Brazil. If I can help in any which way, I would love to do that.
That's perfect. So thank you, Ashok. I will talk in Portuguese now to
Yeah.
to our audience. Então, pessoal, esse foi o Ashok Karanth, ele que é o fundador e o CEO da Edisn.Ai, como vocês viram, uma tecnologia incrível que ele mostrou aqui para a gente. Eu repito aqui, para mim, é uma das tecnologias mais legais que eu já vi e que entregam maior valor hoje nesse meio de produção de vídeo, né? Não só ao vivo, como on demand também. Então, acho que é algo que vai crescer muito, a gente ainda vai ouvir falar muito da Edisn.Ai pelos próximos anos, e eu acredito que esse é o futuro de fato, como o Ashok falou, as transmissões e os vídeos, eles precisam ser cada vez mais interativos para que principalmente a geração mais nova, que é acostumada com essa interatividade, jogando videogame, consiga continuar se interessando por esportes reais, digamos assim. Então, muito obrigado a todos vocês pela audiência. Espero que vocês tenham gostado aqui. O Ashok, o primeiro convidado, não é o primeiro convidado internacional, a gente teve o Mota da Federação Internacional de Vôlei, mas o Mota fala português. Hoje foi o nosso primeiro convidado conversando em inglês aqui conosco, então também aproveito para pedir desculpas se eu cometi algum erro de inglês. Acredito que tenha ficado legal, prometo melhorar para as próximas vezes e aguardo vocês nos próximos episódios aqui do Enzima Live Show. Lembrando vocês que toda terça e toda quinta-feira, às 16 horas, aqui no canal da Pluri, a gente sempre vai estar recebendo profissionais relevantes do mercado, não só do Brasil, como fora do Brasil, como o Ashok veio hoje por aqui, para a gente conversar sobre inovação, tecnologia, mundo das startups, mundo digital, e depois essas nossas conversas viram podcast nas principais plataformas de podcast que existem, o Spotify, o Deezer e o Google Podcast, tá bom? Muito obrigado novamente pela audiência de vocês e até o próximo episódio. Tchau, tchau.